Recently I gave a presentation on mushroom harvesting and cultivation. At the end of that there was a Q&A session and there were a couple of really good questions that I wanted to get to in a little bit more details today. So let's just get started. First question was from Sumi N. She says, did the fungi on Earth come from outer space? Let me answer it in two parts. First, about spores that have traveled through space and may have landed on Earth, and second, about existing fungal spores and species we take into space to provide sustenance and terraforming. That leads us back to the possibility of microbes escaping a spaceship and finding their way to another planet. First, Panspermia, literally meaning all seed, is the hypothesis that life exists throughout the universe and it is distributed by all these planets and asteroids smashing into each other and spreading potential life around to land in a favorable habitat. We know of bacteria that can withstand temperatures up to 420 centigrade, and fungal spores that can travel through space without oxygen and exposed to massive doses of radiation. Although there is no definitive proof, bears investigating the possibility that life in the universe is spread in a similar way to the spores of a mushroom in order to have the chance of a possibility of finding the right conditions to reproduce. The second part, as for taking fungus into space, Aspergillus niger has been identified as a species of fungus that could be used to produce food, enzymes, and antibiotics during space travel. All biological beings take in nutrients from elements and power sources, then convert them to something else based on their genetic programming. Fungi, bacteria, and molds are especially adept at recombining basic nutrients into items that will be useful in providing food, medicine, and structural integrity to the spacecraft. If they escape the spacecraft and find another host planet, then we'll have initiated a panspermic event. Pretty sure I just made up that word. Next question is from Shirley D. Does kombucha tea have anything to do with mushrooms? And is there any difference between the US and Japanese version of kombucha? Well, kombucha, as known in the US, is completely different from the kombucha in Japan. I suppose you could start differentiating the two by placing an emphasis on the bu for the American version and emphasizing the cha for the Japanese version. So kombucha would be the American way to say it, and kombucha might be the Japanese way to say it. Kombucha is a fermented and effervescent spiced drink. This is generally made from a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, or what they call a SCOBY. The yeast portion of it is the fungus. This was brought from China to Germany, Russia, and other parts of Eastern Europe in the early 1900s, and eventually became commercially available worldwide. Kombucha, the Japanese version, is just dried, powdered kelp in hot water. Next question is from Sumi N. David, do you cultivate truffles or Matsutake? Unfortunately, I have not cultivated gourmet truffles, Matsutake, or any of the other mushrooms known to be extremely difficult to cultivate. Next question is from Katrina A. Is it possible to grow edible mushrooms outside? Yes, absolutely. There are numerous methods, from log inoculation to incorporating mushrooms into your garden patches. I hope to demonstrate as many of these methods as possible. Next question is from Futaba K. I heard mushrooms can lower blood pressure, is that right? Yes. Several studies seem to show that not only that certain mushrooms lower blood pressure, but other healthy results like lower free cholesterol, enhance the immune system, reduce stress, improve sleep, improve VO2 max, lessen fatigue, and are a good source of vitamin D. I've read a lot of articles from health and wellness sources about mushrooms that have no scientific basis whatsoever. No citations, and are just fluff pieces. So I'd advise you to stay away from those. If you're looking to treat a specific medical condition, do blood work with your doctor and see if you can set up a controlled study with your own body and the mushrooms you think will help treat that condition. Next question from Mary A. I heard that you have to cook all mushrooms except button mushrooms. Is this so? Well, Dr. Andrew Weil suggests that all mushrooms should be cooked to break down the indigestible chitin and remove trace amounts of heat-sensitive carcinogens that may be present. That said, portobello or crimini mushrooms, which are the same thing, are regularly eaten raw despite containing hydrazines, including agaritine, a carcinogenic compound. Next question from Sumi N. Are you aware that US FDA guidelines do not encourage importing Japanese wild mushrooms even 10 years after the Fukushima incident? On April 13, 2021, Japan announced its decision to discharge stored wastewater from Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the ocean. The water is treated to remove more harmful cesium and strontium, but still contains less harmful heavy water, tritium. The FDA has declared that this presents no impact to human or animal health. However, Import Alert number 9933 is still active, which restricts import of food shipments from Japan that may contain radionuclide contamination. I've linked the import alert in the comments below. It shows that this is mostly managed by the Japanese government as a result of their own testing on food products in Japan. Take a look at the guidance at the end of the report for food products the government has flagged as potentially harmful from your prefecture. Another question from Katrina A. In real life, do you see mushrooms contributing to our energy needs? As shown in the links in the comments below, there are many ways to approach harnessing energy using mushrooms. Along these lines, there's also a luminescent mushroom found in Japan that contains the chemical luciferase. I love thinking about the possibilities of harnessing new sources of energy in cleaner and more efficient ways, and it often requires significant creativity. The fuck? Just burning up. As shown in the links in the comments below, there are many ways to approach harnessing energy using mushrooms. I love thinking about the possibilities of using new sources of energy in cleaner and more efficient ways. It often requires significant creativity to harness and convert these unique energy sources in a functional way. And finally, again from Katrina A. In the new Star Trek series Discovery, they power the spaceship with a mycelium drive. What do you think of that? I'm a big fan of Star Trek Discovery series, the technology of the Spore drive. Astromycologist from the show, Paul Stamets, as played by Anthony Rapp, is the name of one of the most popular mycologists in the world today. I watched the show before I started cultivating mushrooms, so if I see it again today, I would definitely enjoy it with more detailed knowledge of the concepts that they explore. Lin An Kat has a great article explaining how the Spore drive could be conceived based on the real mycelium networks of mushrooms in the links in the comments below. Finally, thanks to everybody who participated. I had a great time and hope you did too. And have a great day.